What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and we've done some investigative work yesterday on the deranged lunatic at the Netflix protest, and we have been able to identify him, and turns out he's a bigwig writer for Netflix and for the upcoming Frasier reboot. We're going to get into all that in a second. First and foremost, it's been hilarious to watch the media represent this whole situation as a complete and utter lie, and they're getting ratioed. You see this Variety. If you didn't see yesterday, about 7 people walked out of Netflix over the Dave Chappelle special, and there was about 200 press on site. So if you see basically every picture from this historic event, there's about maybe 10 or 15 employees, several hundred media, and nobody gave a damn, essentially. You see here, the Netflix walkout, which was intended to showcase solidarity with the trans community, grew tense at certain points as protesters clashed with a vocal crowd of comedians fans. There was like 4 people there. You see Masterson back here. Vito Gesualdi's here as well. But there was like, 5 or 6 people. By the way, we are still looking for this man's identity here. I know he looks like a Fed. Maybe that's true. But he did go after Masterson got into a physical altercation. We're looking for his identity. We do have the identity of the other maniac. So they also hilariously framed this like, here's Vito, and it looks like he's arguing, but these lunatics were pushing him back after another lunatic. By the way, all these protesters, man, Netflix protesters so white, huh? Where are the black and brown protesters? But you see, essentially, Variety getting ruthlessly ratioed here. Y'all had Feds there. That guy's a glowing. The guy in the blue mask actually raised their hand at a counter protester. Cool, fire them all. Plenty of people would love to work at Netflix. They're getting like no support. And interestingly, there was an actual video of the incident, which I have, that coincidentally was struck down after nearly 3 million people saw a Netflix writer who is now on the run. We're going to get into that. Struck. Now, I want to talk about the actual incident, okay? Again, shout out to Vito Gesualdi. I know a lot of people, he's done some things that maybe my viewers don't like. To me, I'm able to compartmentalize that kind of stuff. And, ultimately, Vito was there to counter-protest something that the mainstream media says is an important thing, especially when it's somebody that they support. He was respectful, and he was attacked by a lunatic who ripped his sign from his hand. But perhaps the most nefarious part of it was, after battering him, which is what he did, he screamed out that he had a weapon. The fact that immediately after he ripped off the sign, he yelled that he had a weapon shows you intent. He knew exactly what he was doing. And to get kind of serious here for a moment, that moron was trying to get Vito, in my opinion, hurt, because you don't scream out that somebody's armed in a crowd without malicious intent. All the memes are funny, obviously. The jokes are funny, memes and all that kind of stuff. But very seriously, Vito could have been very hurt because this man knowingly lied. Who is the man? Well, let's take a look. Here is a picture we started with last night. He looks like all that is man, as you can see, with his mask securely over his face and nose. We were able to locate him via his wife's Instagram post. His name is Joe Cristalli. He is a Netflix writer and he is an executive producer on the Netflix show. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't want Joe fired. I don't want him canceled. I do want him charged with at least 2 counts of battery, though, as he also battered Mr. Masterson as well. And all of this is on video evidence. Okay. You want to, and by the way, people say, how can you be sure it's him? I mean, it kind of looks like him. Well, here's a video at the 19-minute mark, we can see he outs himself. He literally gives a spelling of his own name. It's him. So I have all the evidence that backs this. Everything's been archived, of course. But it's been interesting to watch the media spin. Only, unfortunately, excuse me, only right-leaning websites are reporting this accurately. Now, you could point out, oh, well, they were there to troll. So? Doesn't make it right. And also, by the way, I know that there's a contingent of people who, when I talk about, filing an official report, which I'm told Vito and Mr. Masterson are doing, they're like, oh, that's cringe or whatever. Miss me with that energy. That's the same energy that, every time a teacher takes advantage of a male student, people are like, nice. No, not nice. That is a crime. So it's the same, energy there. So no, these people need to be held to their own standards. And until they start reaping financial and criminal backlash for what they do, they're going to keep doing it. So yes, maybe the LAPD does nothing about it, but you file the report anyway, because that's what civilized people do. Once you file that report, you can decide then if you want to take this guy, drag this guy into civil court. I would do it, and I have done it. But if Vito and Mr. Masterson don't want to, that's their choice too. But I think they should, and I would certainly back any kind of crowdfunded legal team for them to do it. So Netflix protesters furious with Chappelle special go after a man with "We Like Dave" sign. Yeah, a man holding a sign that says "We Like Dave" before he is accosted by several people who ultimately break his sign. First of all, that's battery, minimum. But again, when he says, you see, why is he breaking my sign? The man holding the sign, this is Vito, saying his protesters grab and smash it. Don't I have the same freedom of speech rights as you? Once the sign is destroyed, the man is left holding just a stick that it was mounted to, and the protesters immediately start shouting, he's got a weapon. They were trying to get him hurt. The man is pushed away from the scene by protesters while laughing at their accusation that he has a weapon before he drops the stick. I'm just here to say that jokes are funny, people, the man explains with his hands raised in the air. Dave Chappelle is a funny guy. I love Dave, he added, as one of the protesters shook a rattle in his face. I don't know why all the violence. I don't know why all the hate. Well, Stone Toss perfectly encapsulates this. I'm working on something with him, by the way. In the background, you're going to see Soon here you see jokes are funny, but they cause real world harm. How? And then they cause it. It's perfect encapsulation. And as Dank points out, they can never literally answer this question. By the way, if you're new to the channel, there's a red subscribe button down below. I cover this and 5 to 6 other topics every day. YouTube does not recommend my videos, so I would greatly appreciate if you subscribed. So, look, I mean, these people have every right to be out there protesting. Man, so white. Anyway, but also people are able, they have every right to counter protest. And that's exactly what they were doing. And of course, just like the millions of examples before this, they're the ones that are raising their hands. Because when these people don't get their way and when these people get challenged, they don't know how to actually interact with humans. So that's why they attack. It's absolutely appalling that anyone would defend this. And it's in a full-scale damage control. Now, the original video of the attack has been copyright claimed after 3 million views. And the person that did the attack has, thus far, after being named and shamed, has deleted their Twitter account, their alt Twitter account, their Instagram, and now their wife's Instagram is private. I can't think of a more obvious way to admit that you're guilty. And I sincerely hope that they catch a charge. That's all I'm saying. They should catch a charge for this. It's right on social media. Or it's right on video. It's an open and shut case. And until we start pushing back and taking the time to file police reports and go through it, these insane leftists are going to keep hitting and damaging our property with impunity. Look, if the system is corrupt and they release them anyway, that's one thing. But, I implore people to not be blackpilled on this and to, understand the bigger picture that, like, this dude catching a charge could, is very damaging and he deserves it. Now, if Netflix is fine with, by the way, some lawyer could probably point out that this attack happened at a Netflix-sponsored event on Netflix grounds from a Netflix employee. Perhaps Netflix gets wrapped up into all of this, and then they're going to have to decide if they want to back this lunatic or not. I fully support a charge. I fully support Mr. Masterson and Gesualdi filing their reports today. And if they want to go with a civil case, I will support that, not just by advertising, but with my own money as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.